Hello and welcome to Military Mayday. We're pointing out a few pieces on the chessboard. I've got a couple more articles for you. This first one here is going to be Switzerland hosts Ukraine's Zelenskyy offers to hold peace summit with Russia. Now, normally Zelenskyy says no or doesn't show up or whatever the deal is, but look for something to happen over this because it looks like U.S. wants to get back into Iran. They want Yemen, Iran, Syria. They want the Middle East, and look like I'm not going to say they bit off more than they can chew, but it looks like they want to regroup. And so look for something to happen here. It might not, but I got a funny feeling they will. Next article is going to be Germany's fears Putin could start World War III are justified, and Vladimir will do the unthinkable if he feels NATO are unprepared. Former commander of U.S. forces in Europe warns after Berlin's secret plans to tackle Russian attack are revealed. Now, I would say these secret plans are bullshit. They probably got a completely another plan, maybe even two more. As far as Putin starting World War III, if he's provoked and pushed, I can see it. And I've said it a few times. I think it will start in Germany, to be honest with you. Some kind of a low yield nuke, and I think you're going to see Germany supplying Ukraine possibly, which that could be an issue, while U.S. backs out. Don't really know. Before we get into these articles, why don't you hit the like button, subscribe. Thanks to all the new subscribers, by the way. I really appreciate it. Let's get some of this out to people who want to know some things. It might be more like us. Swiss President Viola Amherd said Monday during the visit by Ukrainian President Zelenskyy to Bern that her country has offered to organize a peace summit that aims to help bring an end to Ukraine's ongoing war with Russia. I confirmed to him that Switzerland is ready to organize a conference. We have agreed that we will examine all the details of the next steps in depth to ensure that the peace process is a success. The two presidents said the Ukrainian and Swiss teams will begin preparations for the Global Peace Summit in Switzerland as early as Tuesday. No details are provided about when or how such a summit could take place, and Russia hasn't been involved in the process. The summit is intended to infuse the necessary energy into everything that has already been achieved, and to determine the end of the war must be fair and the restoration of the strength of international law complete, Zelenskyy said. So now Zelensky's changed his tone. And so, like I said, let's look for something to be worked out, or at least a ceasefire. Talks of a peace summit comes as Ukrainian military chiefs said Monday their forces had shot down a Russian early warning and control plane and a key command center aircraft, which is confirmed to be a feat for Ukraine in almost a 2-year war. On Sunday, Zelensky's chief of staff took part in a Swiss-hosted talks in Davos among dozens of national envoys about Zelensky's 10-point peace formula, which ultimately aims to feed into the possible peace summit. As for who might attend, Zelenskyy said Ukraine was open to all countries in the world that respects its sovereignty and territorial integrity, so draw conclusions about whom we invite. He conveyed Ukraine's strong desire for countries from the global south to be present. It is important for us to show that the whole world is against the aggression of Russia and the whole world is for a fair peace. If countries truly want war to end, they will support our plan, but added it was an open plan and that would welcome proposals from other countries. Now, personally, if I was Zelenskyy, I'd have already surrendered or made a peace deal. I mean, the men getting blown away, women on the front lines, pregnant women. I've seen it all. Switzerland, which has long touted its neutrality, has been at pains to strike a right balance over the Russian President Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine that began in 2022. The Swiss have lined up with the European Union's sanctions on Russian people and interest over the conflict. Zelensky's trip to Switzerland, where he almost met with parliamentary leaders on Monday, includes a visit Tuesday to the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in the eastern town of Davos. The meeting in Bern came hours after Amherd hosted Chinese Prime Minister Li Qiang, who is also on his way to the elite gathering in Davos. It was not immediately clear whether he would meet Zelenskyy there. Zelenskyy noted China's significant role in the world and said Kyiv would very much like China to be involved in our peace formula and engage in a peace summit. However, he added, not everything depends on our will. We hope that all civilized countries will be involved in the peace summit. Well, China and Russia are buddy so if he has China show up, that means something's probably really going to go down. I'm talking some kind of a real accord. But again, this could just be bullshit. But I've read some articles about how they're going to be slowing it down a little bit. We do have elections and all that stuff, so you got to take that into account. This is a game, by the way. War is a game to these guys. I mean, it's like playing chess or something. Next article is Germany's fears Putin could start World War III. We're not going to read the whole thing because it's a long one. I'm going to hit some points on it. Germany's retired Lieutenant General Ben Hodges today said that if the nations don't take threat of Russia seriously and act in alliance in the World War III could develop within 18 months. Yeah, I could probably see that. His comments come after secret documents of the Germany Ministry of Defense outlined a step-by-step doomsday guide on how Russia could escalate the conflict in Ukraine to an even bigger battle. So he's given it about 18 months. In other words, he's probably telling you that's when it's going to start. That's going to be the middle of next year, 2025. The release of the terrifying documents came just days after Sweden's Civil Defense Ministry warned that his country could soon face the prospect of war. And I'm sure those documents are fake as piss. They're nothing that you're not going to let those out unless you want them to. Here's the 9 steps for World War III. It's like it's Ukraine. He's hitting Ukraine. Latvia, Estonia. I mean, I just don't see it really. I mean, I don't know. I mean, unless they're forced. Hodges, who commanded the U.S. Army in Europe between 2014 and 18, stressed the prospect of an all-out war could only happen if Russia sensed that NATO weren't prepared or unified. Well, NATO's more than prepared. They're the ones that start all this shit and run proxies and all kinds of stuff. The Kremlin right now don't have the ability, he said, but if we fail to keep Ukraine, then that could change. And then it's a very possible reality, or possibility. Some more pictures. Taking advantage of his success, Putin would in July launch cyber attacks in the Baltics at the same time as inciting violence in Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania by claiming that ethnic Russian minorities are being targeted. Let's see here, but even a small attack on the area sandwiched between Poland and Lithuania and Kaliningrad could cause huge problems for NATO, potentially spiral into a third world war. Yeah, but he's going to have to be provoked into it, and I'm guessing that's going to come later on this year. Though thousands of NATO troops, including UK soldiers, are currently deployed to the Baltics, they are only intended as a tripwire force. By December of this year, Moscow would dispel fake propaganda about the border conflicts. Yeah, they did all that. According to the doomsday scenario, NATO would convene a special meeting in January 2025 at which Poland and the Baltic states reported increasing Russian threat and plead for help. Okay, so this is the leaked documents. So they're basically telling you the timeline, but this could be fake as hell. 2 months later, discusses mounting Russian threats to security and decides to take measures of credible deterrence. Kaja Kalaz told the Times our intelligence estimates that it's 3 to 5 years, and that very much depends on how we manage our unity and keep our posture regarding Ukraine. So we got 18 months, 3 to 5 years. We'll have to see how it goes. Slow roll, and everything's going to be about timing. Remember that election's coming up, so things are going to get a little different and hairy. I think we're going to back out for a bit, stick to the Middle East, probably even back out of Juberstein land and just focus on Iran, most likely. Anyway, like, subscribe, toodaloo.